Hello everyone, it's Monica from Show Me Crafty. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to jump on and show you guys something that I found completely by accident. I was searching for an image, don't even remember what it was now because I got such a shock when I found some built-in rhinestone templates in Design Space. If any of you knew those were there and you didn't tell me about it, shame on you. Just joking. Anyway, let's get into this real quick. So if you're in Design Space, you're going to hit the Image tab to search for an image. And I'm sorry, my voice, I'm doing the voiceover, so I might get ahead or a little behind the video at some point, so just bear with me. In the search box, I'm just going to put rhinestones, and eventually those images will come up. They're rhinestone images. Isn't that cow cute? I love that cow. I'm going to have to come back and do something with it. But anyway, I digress. They're rhinestone images, but they're not, let's say, ready to use. You're going to have to do some tweaking to them. Maybe not to all of them, but to some of them, just, you know, from the naked eye, I can look at them and tell they're going to have to be tweaked a little bit to make an effective template. So here, some of the designs have come up. I want to see what is in the set that those designs are contained in. So I just hit the little info, the little eye on one of them, and selected, you know, to see the sets. And it pulls up these 40 images that are part of the Ultimate Rhinestone set in Cricut Design Space. We're going to use that cross image for this project, which is going to be a Bible tote or Bible cover. But here I'm just scrolling through the available rhinestone template designs. I love that little cupcake. Isn't that cute? Those eyes, I want to try to do something with those eyes. But I can tell that there are 3 different size stones represented there, which is going to require not a whole lot of tweaking, but it's going to require some tweaking to make that work. I can already tell. I like the moon. I like the sunglasses, except it looks weird with those eyebrows to me. I don't know why. And I love that rainbow. Anyway, as I said, we're going to use that cross design for this project. And so once the image comes in, and in this particular image, it looks like they used the same size stone. All those stones look the same size to me. To my naked eye, they appear to be SS10, but upon further inspection, I found them to be closer to SS6. And the way I did that was I selected the cross. I could have selected the other image because they all look the same size. But anyway, selected the cross, and then I went to the contour. In the contour, I told it to hide all contours. When it does that, it's going to hide all but one thing in the image. So we just want one of those dots so that we can check to see what size it is to determine, you know, if it's usable as is or if we want to change it. Now, if you're doing baby bling where you're not going to use actual stones, you're going to use holographic HTV or something else, then you don't need to really worry about making sure that the stone size is exactly correct. Anyway, so selected one, or I told it to hide the contours, so the one little stone should pop up here in a second, maybe more than a second. But anyway, once it pops up, I'm going to check it to see what size it is. I will tell you already that I found it to be 0.099. An SS6 stone is about 0.097, I believe. So for purposes of this project, I decided to just go with their 0.099. And so I ended up leaving it. I didn't resize the stone or anything. We're going to use it at 0.099. Now, having gone through the project already, I will tell you that next time for an SS6, I will use 0.097 because I felt like there was maybe a little bit too much room. So I've decided I want to personalize this, and so I'm going to add my name. So I'm typing in my name, and then I'm going to select the TRW Clean Stone Rhinestone font that I've used before in some other videos. I'm going to select that font, and then it's going to pull up, and I'm using my name, Monica. It's going to pull up Monica in that font, and then once it does that, I'm going to follow the same procedure as to the stone size to make sure that it's the appropriate size for an SS6 rhinestone. Okay, but before I do that, okay, once you type in your text, once it's there, you're going to have to weld it before you can get to the contour. So once it comes up, I'm going to hit weld. Once it's welded, I'm going to go to contour. Once it's in contour, I'm going to select hide all stones, or, hide all contours. It's going to give me one. The one's going to pop up. I'm going to size it to 0.099. Then I'm going to go back into contours, and I'm going to tell it to show all contours. When I do that, the whole name will be in 0.009. The holes will all be 0.009. Now here I decided I did not like the placement of the dot above the I, so I'm going to change that. And I think I've gotten ahead of myself in the video. But anyway, I'm going to change that. So I'm going to select a circle, and I'm going to make this circle 0.099. And then I'm just going to put it aside while I go deal with the name using the procedure I just outlined to you. So that's what's going on with this right now. While the video is catching up to me, as I was saying, the next time I do this for an SS6 rhinestone design, I will use 0.097. The template worked fine. I just feel like it would have worked a little better had it been a little more snug than the 0.099. So next time I'll use 0.097. So anyway, I've put that little stone I created aside. Now we're in the contour for the name, and we're going to follow that procedure. We're going to hide all contours once it allows us to. It's going to get there. We're going to hide all contours. It's going to leave one little stone. And for purposes of this video, I'm calling it a stone because we're doing rhinestones. If this were a different image that you were doing it with, I wouldn't be saying stones, but whatever. We're doing rhinestones. It's going to isolate one stone. And once it does that, I'm going to change that to 0.099. Any day now. And y'all, I apologize if this is kind of awkward, but the raw footage for this video is like an hour and a half long almost. I'm tired of editing. I just want to get the thing up there. We've talked about this stuff before, so you guys should be able to keep up. If not, again, I'm sorry that it's so awkward. But anyway, here's our little stone. We're going to change it to 0.099. Once we do that, we're going to go back to the contour. Okay, now we're going to show all contours. Now, the little twist here, remember, I don't like the placement of the dot above the I. So I have a lonely stone on the canvas waiting for me. Once it shows all contours here, I'm going to hide. See? Okay, we're back. I'm going to hide that dot above the I. And once I hide that, when I go back to the canvas, everything but the dot above the I will be there. And then I will just add the stone that I created. I'll just add that. in a position that I like better. I mean, I guess that it doesn't look terrible. I just, for some reason, it's bothering me. So I'm going to change it for this project. You can leave it the way it is if you want, of course, but I'm going to change it just because I have a tendency to make things more difficult. Anyway, usually for myself, hopefully not for you guys, but okay, so now we're waiting on the name to pop back up, and once it does, we will start placing that. There it is. We'll start placing the little lonely stone up there. Once I get it into position, I will select it and the name, and I'll weld that, and then we can start playing around with the full design that we want for our Bible cover. And I will warn you, the Bible cover may look a little wonky. I made it myself. I made it in a hurry specifically for this project. And I cut the lining area. I cut it too short, but I just didn't want to cut it all again, and figured I could stretch a few things here and there and make it work. And it actually works. It just, it looks a little bit wonky to me, but for purposes of what we're doing here, it'll be fine. And I'll show you pictures of that later. So I think we're just about at the point where I've got do I have it welded? Yes. Okay. The dot on the i's changed. It's welded now. Now let's play around with how we want this to appear on the Bible cover. We have to check the size of the full design to see. Oh my gosh. Do y'all hear that? Okay, so usually it's the dogs making an appearance with their voices in the video. Now it's the grand cat. Hi, Draco. Can you leave, please? Love you. Bye. Anyway, the Bible cover, I think, and I don't have it sitting in front of me right now, I'm sorry, but it'll depend on the size of your project anyway. You just want to, as always, make sure that it's going to fit. What I found with this one, I wanted to do this image where it was like this, where, they were centered. But doing that, once I checked the size, I found out that it's not going to work because the name is too wide for the cover that we're going to put it on. So anyway, I also decided that I want this to be, I just want one template for the sake of simplicity of this initial project using the Design Space Rhinestone templates. I'm going to make it all the same color so that I can put it all on one template. Again, for the sake of simplicity and to get this done. And so you guys can see how I'm doing it, and then get in there and play around with it yourself if you haven't already. But you still have to be concerned about the size. So eventually the video is going to catch up to me. There we go. Okay, so everything should be the same color now. And then I'm going to take it and weld it all together. I'm sorry, I'm not going to weld it all together at this point. Once I figure out where I want everything to go, then I will weld it all together. And then I'll create a little box, which some people do it, some people don't. Some people, you can just have the template cut out just like this if you want. And then you just take your little template and you place it. I like it to look a little more uniform, so I always create that little box. It's called a weed box. Create that little box and slice it through there so that, I have a nice little boxy rhinestone template. So here I'm going to get my square that I'm going to use as my box for the template. There we go. And if some of this stuff isn't really clicking with you at this point, you may want to go to some of my early videos where I first talk about creating the rhinestone templates to use in Design Space, or to edit one to bring into Design Space to cut with the Cricut. So we've got our weed box over there. We need to send it to the back, put our design over the front. And I guess it doesn't matter since you're going to slice through it. Probably doesn't matter which one's on top, but I always put my design on top of the box, just so that I'm able to see what's going on. And again, I'm centering it. I like the way that that is set up there, but I will tell you that's not how the project ended up because it ends up being too big. There we go. See? The name is too wide for what we're trying to do. So I'm going to play around with it and decide, do I want to keep the name? Do I just want it to be the cross? It really could have just been the cross. There they go. Y'all knew they were going to do it. Let me see if I can go hide from them somewhere because they're not going to be able to keep quiet. Bye, y'all. Okay. So here I'm just playing around with where I'm going to place everything because I do want the name on it, even though I could have just centered the cross on this piece and I think it would have been just fine. But I want the name. So I've decided that I want it to be on the right side of the cross. And then I just need to determine where I want the cross in relation to the name as far as, do I want it placed at the top? Do I want it placed at the bottom? What do I want to do? So that looks good to me. That's what I want to do. So I'm selecting it all and welding it. I think I welded it. Did I weld it? Yeah. Yeah. So now I grouped it and then sliced it out individually, I think. But anyway, you know the drill. Slice that image once you get it centered onto your box. Slice it through that weed box. And in Design Space, that operation is called slice. When I use SCal, it's called knockout. And then there's another feature you can use in SCal that does the exact same thing. But anyway, for our purposes, we're finally getting to do this all within Design Space. That's the exciting part. It's slice. So then once you slice it through, what was I doing here? Look, y'all. I was a little undecisive. It was very, very early in the morning. I started on it the night before and I ended up scrapping it and starting it all over again. So I was kind of loopy. I thought I took all of the evidence of my loopiness out of the video, but apparently I did not. So here we are. And for some reason, why am I doing this? Maybe this is where I welded, I think. I don't know. But anyway, I end up slicing it. Once you slice it, then you got to clean up. I mean, some people keep the images that were sliced out or whatever. It just depends on, like that cross, for instance. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Okay, so I was messing around with it here and I didn't like the placement, so I started playing with it again. But anyway, once you do get to the point where you slice it, I clean it up, but like for that cross, I think I did it here. I will probably kick myself if I did not. It won't be any big deal. But I think the cross part I probably just hid so that if I'm coming back to this project and I decide I just want the cross, or if I just want that cross, then I can unhide it and I can put it onto its own weed box and make a template that way. So if you guys want to skip ahead a little bit here, I will totally understand, because at this point I'm still playing with placement I guess I second guessed myself. That didn't look bad. That placement didn't look bad. But I think because of the cover that I was going to put it on, I just felt that it would look better if the cross were down lower and the name was up higher. I think. I think I'm still a little loopy from working on this. But yeah, did any of you guys know that these templates were uploaded to Design Space? I didn't see any announcement anywhere. I didn't see anybody else on YouTube doing anything with these. And again, I just stumbled on it. I wasn't even looking for anything rhinestone when I stumbled on it. Oh, okay. At this point, I decided it's probably a good time to save the project, because after doing all that work on it, the last thing you want to do is lose it. And at that point, I had already scrapped it once and started over again. So yeah. So make sure you save your project. Probably should have saved it before we got to this point, because at this point we have done a lot of work. We don't want to lose it. So just make sure you save it. But back to our discussion about when these popped up. I have no idea when they popped up in Design Space. They were just there. And I was like, are you kidding? Really? But then, like I said, as I looked at them, I could tell, you're going to have to do some work with them, but this is still progress. I'm still very happy about it. And I really can't wait to do a project with that cupcake one. I don't know why, but I just think it's super cute. So I want to put that cupcake on something. Maybe I'll do a car decal, a rhinestone car decal with the cupcake one, because why not? It's my car, my decal. I can have a cupcake if I want to. Okay, so we are still playing around with this. We're getting there. I promise you guys, it's coming up. But, like I said, at this point, I'm just playing around with placement. The computer was probably slow a little bit at that point too. But we're going to get it. My memory is terribly faulty, because I thought I ended up with different placement, but nope, that's the placement, you guys. So all that's left to do at this point is to tell it to make it. And I'm using the Cricut Maker for this. As you guys know, when I started doing these, I was using a Cricut Explorer. I still use that machine sometimes. I still use the Explorer Air 2 sometimes, as well as my Maker. So this project will work for any of those machines. So at this point, like I said, the only thing left to do is to tell it to make it. Why do I feel like the video stopped? Hang on, you guys. Okay, so it did stop, but we've got it going again now. So anyway, told it to make it. I go to my custom materials so that I can get my rhinestone template material setting. I still use my setting. Some people use the fabric setting. I'll show you my setting here in a second. I think there it is. It's a 220 pressure with double cut, and it's the fine point blade. But that's the one that I've used since I've started doing this. That's what I use. The flock I'm going to be using on this is called Rocket, and I got it from Nova Rhinestones, and their website is NovaRhinestoneDepot.com, I think. Anyway, but I'm using my custom setting, the one that I've used since, what was that, y'all, 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. I'm not changing it. Use what you want, but that's what I use. And then here, it's gone to the mat, and we're going to cut it out. And And I guess I really could have taken this part out, but we're going to leave it in. Anyway, I sent it to. I cut it with the maker. And then I weeded it. And in a second, we will see the template and some of the materials that we're going to use. I wish I had cut that out, but I didn't. Sorry, y'all. Here we go. Voila! There it is. There is the rhinestone template, which you'll need. You'll need your template. The other materials there, I have the Hotfix tape. I have my SS6 stones. And my brushes for brushing the stones in. And look at these little tiny SS6 baby rhinestones. How cute. So let's get started. We're gonna dump those babies. Well, first, no, don't dump the baby rhinestones yet. I'm gonna take that template and stick it to the surface, and I'm actually working in a different room for that video because the AC was out upstairs. But all that is that I'm putting the template on is it's an old Cricut mat. I don't throw them away. I use them for all kinds of stuff. So I just brought it downstairs with me, and I'm just going to be very careful to not dump the stones all over the place. So just make sure after you finish brushing in your stones, you go ahead and clean up the area before you use your Hotfix tape to pull it off. I think I cut the footage out in here of, I had brushed the stones in, and then I looked at the brush with the red handle, and there was like a couple of the stones stuck in there, and my genius self decided, I just need to tap that brush on this surface and they will fall out, and I can go ahead and clean those up. Well, you know what happened. I tapped the brush. Don't remember if they actually fell out of the brush, but some of them popped out of the template. But anyway, yeah, I cut that footage out for sure. If nothing else got cut out of this, I cut that footage out. So here I am just brushing in my stones, and brushing them in, I think would have been a little easier, a little faster had I made the holes 0.097, as I said earlier. These holes are 0.099. So there's our template. We're going to take our Hotfix tape to remove the stones from the template. And, I've clipped out some of the footage here. So when you're removing your rhinestones, if you're noticing that, you're having some that are left over, hang on. Good grief. As I was saying before, we were so rudely interrupted by the dogs again. If you're noticing that stones are being left behind in the template, just drop the Hotfix tape down again and pick it up. Sometimes you can put your finger on it, press it, and when you pick it up, it'll come out. So then, don't get discouraged because you look at this and you see me pull it off, and it looks like I pulled it off and they all came off in one movement. It didn't. I cut out footage. There's sometimes where stones will be left behind a little bit, and it's no big deal. You just, I think you can see there. Okay, some of them were being left behind. So see, it isn't perfect. Don't get frustrated. I mean, you'll be frustrated enough by this point because there's so many steps. But again, just, if they're not coming out, don't panic. Don't worry about it. Just put the Hotfix tape back down. See, I'm using my finger. And take your time and pull it up. And voila. There, I just stuck the backing back on there from the Hotfix Tape backing back on it, just for easy handling. And here is my little Bible tote that I made. It normally calls for a button closure. Oh, and that little Bible I got for this project, I just got it at the Dollar Tree, and it's weird because it's only the New Testament, and I thought, okay. That's the inside of my little cover. The original pattern for that called for a button. Okay, here I am. I have it on the heat press. And voila, there is our little Bible cover. And it has a tie instead of a button because I prefer the tie. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Happy stoning. Go try it. Bye, y'all.